Timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare contract, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-919-1441. 800-919-1441. 800-919-1441.
This is KWAM. And now, here's the Mary Beth Conley Show, a radio program that features discussions to help you expand your horizons, believe in your dreams, and live life large. Now, here's your host, Mary Beth Conley.
And hello, everybody. Happy Monday. It's $1 Million Monday on the Mary Beth Conley Show. While you're online today, go to AAALifesolutions.com. That is where you'll find, among a number of others, John Wright. He is a partner with that company. He also has his own stellar-assets.com. Correct, John?
That's
always
correct.
ask you that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always worried. For some reason, I want to say org. Don't ask me why.
No, .com.
So .com. But if you put stellar-assets and John Wright, you will find it. And he is the author of, let me hold up the book here, You Know Nothing about picking stocks, but that's okay. He has a remarkable track record, and so when we're talking about the potential pandemic, and it may be, for all I know, up to pandemic status, John watches this minute by minute because of what it could do to the market. We'll ask him in just a moment, but because of coronavirus, you may be wondering, is this a disaster for my portfolio? Are we going to see the market screech to a halt, or worse, lose a lot of value? Or could it be the opportunity you've been looking for? We'll get started in just a moment. It's $1 Million Monday.
Now, here's your Mid-South weather forecast from the News Channel 3 Severe Weather Center and Todd Demers, right here on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Here's your forecast from News Channel 3. Mostly cloudy and mild with a high near 60 behind southerly winds. Tomorrow, though, is cold front day. Scattered showers at rush hour. Northerly winds and falling temperatures should be expected, clearing and cooler for the rest of the week. The AIM Mail Center now offers graphic design in addition to all other printing and shipping services. The AIM Mail Center's 1046 Church Road in South Haven. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers. On The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Moms, are you pregnant and ready to quit smoking? Baby and Me Tobacco Free is a program offered through the Shelby County Health Department that helps moms quit smoking during pregnancy and provides them with free diapers for up to 12 months if they remain tobacco free. Quitting smoking is the best thing that you can do for the health of you and your baby. The biggest reason to quit is the smallest. For more information on the Baby and Me Tobacco Free program and other tobacco cessation resources, call the Shelby County Health Department at 901-222-9268. KWAM, the Voice of Memphis, celebrates Black History Month. This month, we highlight Mid-South African Americans whose sacrifices and achievements are continuing to make a difference in our community, like Honorable Bernice Donald. Donald was born in DeSoto County, Mississippi, but is no stranger to Tennessee. She received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Memphis State University and a Juris Doctor from Memphis State University School of Law. Judge Donald went on to become the first African American woman in the history of the United States to serve as a bankruptcy judge. And in 1982, she was elected to the General Sessions Criminal Court, where she became the first African-American woman to serve as a judge in the history of the state of Tennessee. Donald is currently a judge in the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit. She works with Leadership Memphis and is the co-founder of the For Life program, which teaches life skills to young adults. KWAM's Black History Month tribute is brought to you by Brittany Moore of Cry Like Southeast, helping you make your next move your best move. Call Agent Brittany Moore today at 901-260-5844.
The Startup Life, Tuesdays at 8 a.m. on The Voice, is a show for entrepreneurs and career-minded professionals looking for ideas to move up the corporate ladder. Host Dominic Lawson will guide you through topics that can help in your business, provide commentary on current business news, and interview fellow entrepreneurs and business leaders to provide you with excellent content and value as you pursue excellence in your craft. So if you have an idea, be about that life. The Startup Life, Tuesdays at 8 a.m. on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
The Mary Beth Conley Show on KWAM, FM 107.9, and AM 990.
And hello, everybody. Happy Monday. It's Million Dollar Monday. Hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day weekend. Kicked off with love. Hope the rest of the weekend went that way, too. So, if you broke up this weekend, my apologies. Just there, that's a chipper thought. It is Million Dollar Monday.
The first of many today.
Yeah, really. We were just saying we were not going to make John Wright Dr. Doom here with the coronavirus and the markets, but I didn't really like lead in all that well, John. Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
Anything you say, we have to go up because we have people now crying and driving in the ditch because their romance went.
Some people might be
weekend.
celebrating.
Well, that's a good point.
See,
Sometimes it's a plus.
Yes, you can have optimism in a breakup as well. It's new opportunities, and this is similar to coronavirus, right?
You know, you're pretty good at this.
So
That's what we call a segue in the media business. It's a very good connection there. John is the author, and I'm going to hold up the book of You Know Nothing About Picking Stocks. The subtitle, however, is what you need to pay attention to because it's okay. For one thing, you can get the book. It's on Amazon and all the usual places. Stellar-assets.com is John's website.
And let me throw in a phone number as well.
Yes, please.
866-5-STELLAR.
Oh, that's easy to remember.
866-5-STELLAR.
Wow, you got
I can
your
even
own
remember
phone
it.
number. Yeah. Well, you're a numbers guy, so you should be able to remember much more than that, but we won't go into that. And now, I always say it wrong because I know there's all these rules. You know, I hate rules. I'm not really good at coloring in the lines, but I'm not supposed to say that you have gotten a 30% return track record.
Well,
How do I say that so we stay compliant?
So the book documents principles that I followed in growing my retirement account
from like 11,000, right?
From
to
about 30,000 to over 400,000 in 10 years.
See, that's a great. What is that return?
It was 30% a year compounded.
That's
so. It was
that was during a time when what was the average? Because that was
the
also
average. Well, it was actually a good time for the markets as well. The markets did 15, which is pretty exceptional.
You doubled it though.
Yeah, I did.
So
that's those are the principles that I document in the book. Right. That doesn't mean that somebody signs up with me, they're going to get a 30% return.
Right. Because there's all sorts of different factors, but that is what we can say.
Yes.
So there you go.
That was done, and the title comes from the first principle in the book, which is acknowledging your own ignorance. Right? You might think you know something, and that is going to be relevant here with our Corona discussion as well. Right?
Yeah,
you think you know what the markets are going to do, and they have an amazing ability to surprise you and hopefully to humble you if you're paying attention.
But one thing we know, correct me if I'm wrong, that is an absolute black and white about the market is that it doesn't like uncertainty. Or do we know that because the last few years, I would say, have been relatively uncertain in America because we have love him, hate him, feel neutral. We have a president who's never been in politics, so that in and of itself is uncertain. You're not really sure he's a shoot from the hip kind of guy, so that's uncertain, and yet the market is escalating.
Well, there will always be uncertainty in the market. People talk about the market climbing a wall of worry. Okay,
what does that mean?
That means that people are going to constantly be worried about something in the market as it climbs higher and higher and higher, climbing the wall of worry.
Like right now, we're worried about when will it end.
That's right, and yet the market has been amazingly resilient.
Yeah.
So that it might be a very timely example of climbing the wall of worry. But the main, while there's been a lot of uncertainty in the market, there's been a lot of uncertainty, but there's been one thing that has been very certain, and that is the Fed will come in and backstop any decline in the market. And that's what I think many investors are counting on.
Is that in response to when they didn't do that in 2008? I don't remember much about that fall. So.
It has been a growing trend over the years. It started with Greenspan, even before 2008.
Okay.
You talk about the Greenspan put, meaning if the market goes down, he will step in with the Fed's resources and prop it up.
Okay. To protect us.
Yes, to protect protect the investors, also protect, I don't know what he's protecting really.
Yeah, but to keep things from getting too shaky.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's why the investors have confidence.
And every Fed chair since him has done the same thing effectively. They have whenever the market has had a significant decline, they've stepped in with asset purchases and lowering interest rates in order to encourage the market to go higher.
Wow. For folks who don't watch the market, I don't think I realized what an impact he had. I mean, of course, I know the name from years and years
Right.
and years, but that's
Well, he started it, and then Bernanke followed up, and Yellen.
And
yeah,
now,
so-
and it's just become kind of a fait accompli,
Yes.
probably, because woe to the first one who doesn't do it, you know?
Or who tries to do it and the market doesn't respond in the traditional way, right? And that's really the risk as we talk more about coronavirus. At some point, you have to ask, are there certain events that the Fed, with all of their power, is still not powerful enough to overcome?
Gotcha. Okay, so let's talk coronavirus. Last week, we began this conversation. You watch it minute by minute. Is that
No,
too?
that's a little too much.
I'm trying to give you more credit than you're worth.
No, and it's not just about the market. I mean, I genuinely find it to be a very interesting
Yeah.
topic. Hopefully not interesting in a sadistic sort of way, but it's interesting. And
We'll hope it doesn't get don't
hopefully
get
it
too
doesn't get
close to it.
Yes, exactly.
That it remains an academic
Yes.
discussion. So where are we now compared to a week ago?
Well, last week we talked about being skeptical of the data coming out of China.
That they were
Right.
misinforming us, underestimating
The number of cases, the number of deaths for political reasons.
and they're not really letting anyone in to hold them accountable.
They have not. And we did get some confirmation of that early last week after our show. China came back and said, oh, well, there are a lot more cases than we said before.
They heard you, see?
Yeah, hey, that's exactly it.
You outed them.
Exactly. So they came back and said, we've changed our methodology and now we have more cases. But even with that change, there's still a lot of skepticism out there that they're still holding back the numbers. Somehow the death rate is always at 2.1% of the total count day after day after day. They look very manipulated still.
Okay.
And so as we discussed last week, what I tend to look at are the number of cases outside of China where we can have more confidence in the data and we can look at the growth rate.
And they're more open societies, which is why we'd have more
Yeah,
confidence.
they don't have the same incentives to manipulate the numbers, and so
Right.
we feel like we can trust those numbers. Now,
So how are we doing on that?
clearly they're not able to pick up all the cases, but from what they can track, we can believe in those numbers. And those numbers have been, I don't want to say positive or optimistic, they're still going up, but up until last night, those numbers were climbing at a reasonably modest rate of anywhere from 5 to 15% per day.
And because we're coming to the end of flu season, you're like, this is a timing thing too, right? You're okay with 5 to 15%.
I have
As
been
long as
okay with
flu
5 to
season-
15%. Now I want to come back to the whole flu season discussion because one of the disturbing.
Oh, great.
Yeah, exactly.
We weren't going to be Dr. Doom today, John, but
Well, we got to
go ahead.
start. We're going to start with getting that on the table,
Okay.
and not to panic, but we need to be informed, and so let's together be informed and
Okay.
then figure out what to do about it. So with to reiterate last week, my hope was that we would get past flu season,
Right.
and effectively all of the methods to contain and quarantine right now, they're really not going to stop the virus from spreading, but they can slow it down.
Right.
And hopefully with the combination of slowing the virus along with a dip in the virus that naturally comes every year in the summer because flu strains like the cold weather.
Right.
So with those two things together, maybe we'll have enough time for our brilliant scientists to develop vaccines, and it's a race against the clock, and the quarantining helps with that race theoretically.
Right.
The disturbing piece of information, or the insight, I guess the information's always been there. The insight is that Singapore, which is one of the biggest areas of outbreak right now, lies on the equator.
Okay.
That means not cold weather.
Oh.
And cases are transmitting person to person in that environment.
Fairly quickly there?
Well, I would say slower than the rest of the country. They reported 3 new cases last night out of 77. So that's not bad, right? Less than 5%. But it's not zero. This virus may be more resilient to the warmth than typical flu strains. So we might not get as much of a reprieve from the summer weather as we had hoped.
That won't be good.
That won't be good.
Because Singapore, in theory, shouldn't be a place that really is suffering with it because it's warm.
Because it's warm, and the second issue, the second positive to Singapore is their healthcare system is pretty good. I mean, Singapore is one of the most. It's a country of control freaks. No offense to any Singaporeans listening right now, but
don't they jail people for spitting gum?
Well,
out?
many years ago they caned an American citizen for doing something like that, right? I mean, that is a controlled society, and they suffered. They were one of the worst hit by the SARS virus, and so they're very acutely aware of the importance of tracking and containing and quarantining, and they've got the control systems to do it.
So you see a 5% increase there as more like a 25% elsewhere, maybe.
I have no idea. I have no way. I know nothing. I have no way of putting a number on that.
That's his second book. You know nothing about
about coronaviruses. Yeah, exactly.
But that's okay.
That's okay. I'll kill you anyway.
But it's something that you should watch. We should watch.
So yes. So Singapore is a bit concerning. The numbers. So the numbers outside of China, going back to that, the numbers outside of China have been growing at a pretty modest pace. 10% per day does grow quickly, but we're still at such a small base that it's a modest number of cases after a month or two.
It's not the Spanish flu.
Right, that's right. The disturbing information from overnight, and as I mentioned pre-show, I'm hoping this is a data mistake, because the jump seems too big to believe.
Where is the data from?
Well, it's from all countries across the
world.
world.
But the World Health Organization compiled it, right?
I believe so. I'd have to double check the dashboard.
My point is, I rather doubt they made a mistake in data, but maybe, who knows? Okay,
you never know. So maybe it'll be corrected later on today. But
what was it?
Well, the growth rate from yesterday to today, 5, 10, 15, 10, 10, 60%.
Oh.
That's what I said.
Oh, gosh. I thought you were going to say maybe 25.
Exactly. So hopefully that is a data error. It's an awfully big jump.
It really is.
It's a really big jump. And so we'll have to monitor that the next few days in particular. Now, part of the reason why I say maybe it's a data error, I have not seen any news coverage on that at all.
True.
I mean, the world must be asleep, or it's a data issue.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's a data issue, and
I would think it would still be reported. However, if people were paying attention, I wonder if people are just.
I don't
know.
know.
Well, that's something to watch.
Some of it's that cruise ship that keeps reporting another 100 cases every day.
Yes, those poor people.
Those poor people locked up.
I mean, gosh, the only I don't know that there's a worse place to be. Right now.
There were 15 that they just reported last night on the flight coming back from the cruise ship, where apparently everybody was on board when they got the test results back and said, oops, 15 of you scattered around this plane have the virus.
Oh, my God.
And so they quarantine them in a part of the plane. Now, I don't know how you do that. It's all common air circulation.
Right. Which is like the worst place for air circulation anyway.
Absolutely.
The plane.
So I'm surprised, because I don't think they took off yet. I'm surprised they didn't take them off the plane. They just said, well, I don't know, back of the plane. And
I'm surprised they haven't quarantined everybody on that plane, because the other problem that we talked about last week is that there's like a 2-week window before symptoms where,
And some are saying 3 weeks now.
So but you say in your most optimistic voice, there's always opportunity. So should we be buying Tamiflu stock? And we're not in the business really of giving specific recommendations, but there are things when you have something like this. Like, how has the market reacted in the past, like to SARS or to a health crisis? Typically,
Well, typically there has been a short-term drop, and then the market quickly recovers. And I
Okay.
think people have learned from that. One of the things we said last week was people learn from history. Maybe this was off air. I apologize.
no,
But
that's fine.
people
I don't
learn.
remember.
The problem isn't that people don't learn from history. The problem is they learn too well from recent history, but they don't learn from long-term history.
Okay.
And recent history is markets go down and then they recover. They go down and they recover, right?
Right.
Buy the dip. And that's what we've been trained. That's what we've trained ourselves to do.
Right.
And so now with this potential issue, there's not even much of a dip to buy. We had that one day, and that was
And it
pretty much
hasn't
it. Everybody
dipped.
bought, and it's been setting records almost every day. So
So you've got to be almost prepared for the next dip. Are there any signs? I tell you what, don't answer that yet, because number one, this is a really good tease. Stay tuned to hear the answer to this one, but I wonder if there are signs that you can watch for. Again, no absolutes, people. But
there are no easy answers in the market.
hence the name of the book.
That's
None
right.
of us know anything
That's
about
right.
stocks. But are there signs that we can look for to indicate a dip might be coming? Because it seems to me even better than recognizing the dip and buying, it's being prepared a little bit before that dip so you can get in on the know exactly when to hit the buy button. Plus, since most people are super, super busy and distracted and they don't have time or inclination to stay as on top of it, if there are things that can signal dip might be coming, that might be helpful. So stay tuned for that. Stellar-assets.com is where you can find John and his colleagues, and the number is 8665.
Stellar. Very good.
Oh, God. Now, if I can
AR.
remember the number, it really is easy. I am horrible with numbers, which sort of explains my portfolio. You can also reach John through Renee Kennedy and AAA Life Solutions website by that same name. Renee, of course, is the founder of AAA, which is sort of an umbrella company for all things financially oriented. So basically, she can take you from where you are, you sit down for a free consultation, explain where you are and where you want to be in terms of your retirement, protecting your money, your assets, building them, et cetera, and she can hook you up with any number of her partners who are experts in their little niche. And so John is affiliated with AAA as well. Stellar-assets.com, AAALifeSolutions.com, and we will be right back on the Mary Beth Conley Show. Our hashtag is Making Better Communities. It's $1 Million Monday.
We'll be right back with more of the Mary Beth Conley Show on KWAM The Voice.
Moms, are you pregnant and ready to quit smoking? Baby and Me Tobacco Free is a program offered through the Shelby County Health Department that helps moms quit smoking during pregnancy and provides them with free diapers for up to 12 months if they remain tobacco free. Quitting smoking is the best thing that you can do for the health of you and your baby. The biggest reason to quit is the smallest. For more information on the Baby and Me Tobacco Free program and other tobacco cessation resources, call the Shelby County Health Department at 901-222-9268. KWAM, the Voice of Memphis, celebrates Black History Month. This month, we highlight Mid-South African Americans whose sacrifices and achievements are continuing to make a difference in our community, like Honorable Bernice Donald. Donald was born in DeSoto County, Mississippi, but is no stranger to Tennessee. She received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Memphis State University and a Juris Doctor from Memphis State University School of Law. Judge Donald went on to become the first African American woman in the history of the United States to serve as a bankruptcy judge. And in 1982, she was elected to the General Sessions Criminal Court, where she became the first African-American woman to serve as a judge in the history of the state of Tennessee. Donald is currently a judge in the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit. She works with Leadership Memphis and is the co-founder of the For Life program, which teaches life skills to young adults. KWAM's Black History Month tribute is brought to you by
Tony Withers Stewart, Cry Like Southeast. Call Agent Tony Withers Stewart at 901-581-7038.
At your age, you should know better. The Best Times helps you make better decisions that affect all areas of your life. Whether you're looking for the best place to move to in retirement, a new car, auto repair, entertainment, how to save money on medications, latest safety devices, home medical options, or financial advice, you will find all that and more when you pick up your free copy of The Best Times at one of over 250 locations throughout the Mid-South. The Best Times, the source of quality information for mature Mid-Southerners for over 33 years.
If you're a baby boomer here in the Mid-South area, this message is for you. We've designed a brand new radio show with you in mind. It's the Income Generation radio program, hosted by best-selling author and financial coach David J. Scranton. Each week, Dave will teach you retirement strategies that have worked year after year, decade after decade, in any kind of market. That's right, Dave Scranton will teach you these strategies. So join us Sunday mornings at 11 for the Income Generation radio program.
If you're in need of a professional cleaning service that takes your business as seriously as you do, call Jan Pro Cleaning Systems today. They understand how important it is to establish and maintain a professional image. That's why they offer the Jan Pro Signature Clean and the Jan Pro Guarantee. From regular scheduled cleaning to the tough stuff like stripping and waxing, buffing, carpet extractions, and detail cleaning, Jan Pro does it all. Call today for a free, no-obligation quote. 901-683-4900. Insured and bonded for your protection. Jan Pro Cleaning Systems. Measurable cleaning, guaranteed results.
The Mary Beth Conley Show on KWAM, FM 107.9, and AM 990.
And hello, everybody. Happy Monday. It's Million Dollar Monday on the Mary Beth Conley Show, brought to you by AAA Life Solutions, website by the same name, .com, 901-508-2433. Renee Kennedy is in our sister city. We'll call Nashville that today because we want to be nice to little old Nashville with all its potholes and horrible infrastructure.
Say you can do that if you want to. I won't be nice.
Yeah, not a whole lot of Memphians like to be nice to Nashville, but I don't know. If you've tried to get a hotel in downtown Nashville recently, oh my goodness. So pricey. Unbelievable. So there's some advantages to being over here on the river. John Wright is the founder of Stellar Assets, stellar-assets.com. The phone number, really easy to remember, 866-5-STELLAR. And he is the author of You Know Nothing About Picking Stocks, and That's Okay. And basically, it's the blueprint for picking stocks in a more intelligent way. It's what he did as you were a novice. Your background is not like you were a stockbroker.
I'm not a Wall Street guy. I do have an MBA and an engineering undergraduate degree.
And you're a smart guy. You know, you can string a sentence together, right?
Maybe.
Now you're on the hot seat. You better be coherent in this segment.
I guess so.
He's a smart guy, but he's, as he said, not a Wall Street guy. And yet he turned, let's see, what was the number? 31,000 in a retirement account. Yes, 31,000. My memory is working in overdrive today. I'm telling you, John, you're good. You're good karma. Into 400,000, actually more than 400 in less than 10 years. That's a 30% annual return. And so that's not a promise that if you let him work his mojo on your portfolio that you'll get 30%. But the point is, you can look at history and go, kind of knows what he's doing, despite the title of his book. So we're talking about the coronavirus. John sees an opportunity in everything. And so I'm wondering, this potential pandemic,
well,
is it still called potential? Or is it up to pandemic status?
It depends on who you talk to. I would call it a pandemic, but at a very low level right now.
A small pandemic.
Yeah, well, the problem is that no one sees any plausible way to stop it at this point.
And it's very contagious.
It's very contagious, and it's a question of time. The experts are pretty much saying it will be everywhere at some point and at some level.
And so the problem, too, is that we don't really know whether the numbers we have are accurate, because China is a closed society, and they've pretty much come out in the last week and admitted that they underreported. They have different ways now. They didn't say, hey, we lied to you, but how'd they put it? That we have a
They
different...
revised their methodology.
Revised their
Yes.
methodology.
Yes.
Okay, but you know what? They were putting up hospitals specifically for patients of this virus, like in a week. So clearly they had some problems. Right. So have they done anything with the trade war? Remember last week we talked about...
Yeah, let's talk about, so there's the virus itself, and then there's the impact of the virus on China and the rest of the world.
Right.
And then after that, there's what does that mean for the stock market?
Right, because what is that old saying about when such and such catches a cold, the rest of the world gets
when
pneumonia?
China catches a cold, the rest of the world gets the flu, I think,
Great.
Gets the
coronavirus.
It's something like that.
So what we want to look for is what can you do to either protect your assets that are in the market or hopefully grow them. Where is the opportunity? So you were talking a moment ago about you want to hit the dip when you buy.
Well, first, we need to be clear that it is almost impossible to time the market.
Okay.
So
don't get too excited.
Don't get too excited about trying to hit this point or.
Well, like I said, that was a tease.
That
doesn't necessarily mean anything.
It's very, very easy to lose money trying to time the market because, as we talked about on previous shows, we're human, right? And humans, by their very nature, tend to do the wrong thing, the exact opposite of what they should be doing. One of my chapters is Opposite George, right?
That's
Always do the opposite of what you want to do because as a human, you're wired in a very faulty manner when it comes to the stock market.
Okay. Wow.
So trying to time the market and, well, I'm going to wait for this dip and I'm going to put my money aside right now because I'm worried about...
Just don't try to do that.
Don't try to time the market. Now, okay. I do... What I have said consistently is you always need something to sell. So you need to be prepared to react to whatever the market gives you.
So because it can be pretty instantaneous, right?
Absolutely.
You can tell I don't play the market enough to know. But so you need to... right now, identify what you would dump out of your portfolio to create money to buy something better. Is that correct?
Yes, and I would say we actually have a bit of a blessing, if you will, with the market right now because it hasn't reacted to this. So that means that we can sit back. Now is a great time to look at your portfolio overall. So this is not panic selling because the market hasn't done anything yet, realistically.
Right.
So it's a good time to step back, look at your portfolio, look at how you're positioned, right? Are you being too greedy? If you are 100% in the market and loaded up on growth stocks, you've done very, very well the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
But is it time to take a step back and reassess that?
That's hard for people to do, isn't it? Because,
especially when you've won, when you've been winning.
Sure, because you think it'll never end.
Absolutely. You got to sell the winners.
But you've been in the position where you have seen gains disappear.
Absolutely.
By waiting too long.
Absolutely.
Sell the winners.
That's what you have to do. You have
do you have a percentage of win where you know, like, okay, now you're a candidate. You've done really well for me. I've earned 25% on you, X company, and you're my seller.
Well, I do when it comes to weapons of mass destruction.
Which are?
That's a Warren Buffett reference to options.
Oh, okay.
So with options that are extremely volatile, I do have specific cutoffs where I buy and sell. I don't with individual stocks because I'm relying more on the fundamentals and not playing the volatility as much.
You can't really tell somebody unless you see their entire portfolio and factor in their age and their risk tolerance and their whole situation in life, what in their portfolio they should target as a potential seller.
Right, but I'm willing to do that. No charge. People want to call me up and walk me through their portfolio. I will have that discussion with them.
8665 seller.
Thank you. But
I'm so proud I know that number.
More than happy to do it because I most stocks that people will own, I'm following. I track between 2,500 and 3,000 stocks at any one time, and so it's a very simple matter for me to. It's not in my head. I can't keep that in my head because I know nothing. But I have a spreadsheet.
You really like the title of your book, don't you?
I do like it. You can't have enough humility in the market. You really can't. It's so easy to fool yourself that you know what you're doing because you get lucky. People get lucky all the time.
Yeah, you
right?
get cocky.
On any given transaction, half the people were lucky and think of themselves as geniuses.
So you fight against that too. That's human nature too. So you constantly fight
Absolutely.
against your own nature.
Absolutely.
In this game.
You constantly have to ask yourself, are you really adding value here? Are your decisions really paying off or not?
Okay, so the first rule is you have to have something to sell. So you obviously have to know how much of it to sell, right?
Well,
so you kind of have to have a ballpark idea of how much money you want to play with when that dip comes, right?
Usually I will sell. So if I decide to sell, well, I want to give you a hard and fast rule, but I can't.
Yeah,
I mean, I might
we
sell
know.
half. I might sell it all, depending on where it's at. But
or how big the dip is, or
Yeah.
do you also have? Should you also identify now before you do it what companies or industries might be the best ones to buy in a dip that's sparked by this current situation, so that you then know that one looks really good, and I'm going to want to put that. Seems to me it would help you identify how much to sell because you know.
I would make industry decisions now. I really think I'm amazed. I know nothing. I'm amazed that the market has not dropped significantly. But I really think it's presented a window. So if you still own companies in the travel space, you need to ask yourself, what's the upside to owning this investment? What's the downside to owning this investment? And there are specific industries where clearly there is major potential downside. May not happen, right? This whole thing might blow over in the next week or two, and we look back and say, wow, I don't know why we were so concerned.
Right.
But does that mean that there's going to be upside for those industries? If they haven't really gone down that much, then there's probably not that much upside for them.
Right, because they can't grow that much more.
However, if this thing turns out to be real and growing, then there's major downside, and you should get out of those industries while you still have a chance.
And within those industries, would you look specifically at companies that are either based in Asia or fly a lot to Asia, cruise ships, those kinds of companies? So
That's right.
identify the right
Airlines.
ones within
That's right.
those industries.
Airline, a few weeks ago, I owned Norwegian Cruise Lines. I got rid of it.
Is that the one that owns the cruise ship?
No, that's not the same company, but it's in the same industry, and
it's a big one. Yeah.
People don't want to go on cruises if they think there's a chance that they're going to catch a virus and be quarantined for weeks on end.
Very true.
So I got rid of my cruise ship. I had an airline. I had Spirit Air, which I think is a good company overall, but it's the wrong time to hold it. Even though they don't fly to China, I'm still, to be extra defensive, I ask myself, what's the upside? And I think there is upside with, I don't want to recommend specific companies, but I think there is upside with that company. But in the short term, there's probably a lot more downside if people start to panic and don't want to fly.
Where do you park the money you're kind of holding to buy in a dip? Where do you park it? Money market?
Okay, so portfolio management would say you want to hold some stocks and some bonds.
Mm-hmm.
And if the stocks decline, oftentimes the bonds go up in value. What people don't understand about bonds is you're not just collecting the interest on those bonds, right? So let's say you've got money in a bond fund and the typical bond investment pays out at 3%. 3% isn't going to be your return. You're going to get the 3%, and then you're also going to get the change in the value of the bond. Just like with a stock, you get the dividend, and you get the change in value of the stock. It's the same on the bond world. They don't change as quickly. They don't change as much, usually, as stocks, but you get a change in the underlying value of the instrument.
Oh, okay, so it's not as bad a...
So what that means is if the market tanks, and it's accompanied by falling interest rates, which we have falling interest rates right now, right? So interest rates typically fall when people are concerned about the economy and yada.
Right.
So falling interest rates increase the value of those bond holdings. So you get the 3% plus some capital appreciation on the bonds.
So that would be a good place to park.
So that's a good place to park it in this environment. And then when you make money on the bonds, again, you want to sell your winners. When you make money on those bonds because interest rates went down and there's blood in the streets in the stock market, fear everywhere, that's when you want to sell those bonds that have now made a profit, always have something to sell, and invest that in the stocks that are low so that you can buy low to eventually sell high.
Gotcha. So okay, go ahead.
So that is historically been the way to insulate yourself against major market declines, and I think that methodology still works in this environment. My concern is the days of that working are numbered. It's good for right now, and if you haven't made any, if you are not currently invested in a mix between stocks and bonds, I'm a stock guy, I'm telling you to buy some bonds.
Right, gotcha.
Okay?
There's still time.
There's still time because the market has not reacted.
So there's time to
There's
get
time
the growth.
to get defensive by owning some bonds so that if the market declines, you then have something to sell outside of the market to buy more.
And the mix is dependent on like what percentage
Depends on
is
your
the
age
and all that, right? And your tolerance.
And your tolerance, yes. I mean,
how much time do you have to gather to get
yes, traditional is a 60-40, 50-50, somewhere in that ballpark. But a significant bucket in each is appropriate in this environment, but, and I guess that'll be like after the commercial break. But
no, go ahead. No,
but it won't last forever. We're actually, I saw an article that because of that capital appreciation part that I mentioned on the bonds, it actually works in reverse. If interest rates ever go up, then you lose money on the capital side.
So you have to watch because that window, you have no way of knowing unless you're going to try to time the market, which you said is never a good idea, of when that window is going to be closing.
You don't, but in this, if the problem is pandemic, then that means global slowdown. That means lowering interest rates as much as they can, and they will lower to zero and probably negative. So there's not a lot of room to lower, but there's still some room to lower. They're not going to be going up until we get past this crisis.
So you shouldn't panic if you don't catch it right on the leading edge, but if you're aware of it, then you'll get it. You'll make the right decision fairly quickly into the cycle, basically.
It'll probably be a little bit before interest rates start going up, given the slowdown we're facing right now. But But we are at the...
Again, you know nothing.
I know nothing. I do read a lot.
And
but
I know even
nothing.
less. But I know John, so, and I know his number, 866-5-STELLAR.
So one of the things I read this week was that we are currently facing the lowest interest rate environment of the last 5,000 years. I mean, they've tracked this thing back Hammurabi, Babylon.
I didn't even know we had interest.
They did. That's when they first started, I guess. So, but they've looked at this and they've said, and they've plotted it out, piecing together a lot of different data sources, and we are literally at the lowest interest rates in history right now, pretty close to zero, and at some point in the near future, that's going to turn around, and it's going to be very bad for bonds as well as stocks, and that's when we're all in trouble. Post-pandemic trouble.
Great. Like the coronavirus isn't enough to worry about. In your opinion, you mentioned travel is one you should have already gotten out of it.
Yeah.
But it might be one to pick up again, right? Because you want to sell.
When this passes, absolutely.
When it passes.
Or when it looks like it's passing.
When it's beginning
to,
before it goes back up.
Ideally.
Would it be cruise or airlines?
Well, cruise is, I think, I haven't looked at which one's been harder hit, but I'm assuming it's cruise lines.
I would think so. Because that's completely leisure. I mean, some airline travel you're just going to have. What about FedEx or companies like that do a lot of business in Asia?
So we really should have a brief conversation on what's happening in China from an economic standpoint and how that affects the rest of the world.
Okay, you got 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Go.
Supply chain at risk. Oh, that was less than 30
Oh,
seconds.
and that means supply chain like for AutoZone or anything that uses any parts.
It's not just parts, right? And most of what we consume in this country comes from China. That's just the way it is. The factories in China were supposed to open last week. They did open,
that, yeah.
but their
and
staff
a little sooner than they thought, right? Or at a faster pace.
I think they are open, but they don't have people in them. So some of the factories, like I saw, textile factories are running at 10% capacity utilization right now. They just don't have people to man them because of the quarantine of hundreds of millions of people.
So in the 10 seconds remaining of that 30, what industries are most reliant, with the understanding that everything is reliant on
retail
China?
is a big one, right? Because everything we buy
so
in the
any
stores,
retail stores,
retail
watch
might
out
have a
on
supply
those
chain
stocks.
issue.
Auto manufacturers?
Auto manufacturers are shutting down all over the world right now. They just announced in Serbia they're shutting a car plant because they can't get Chinese parts. The South Koreans have already shut down a couple of factories because they can't get Chinese parts. And that's only going to get worse. One of the things I look at is coal consumption in China because that's a proxy for electricity. That's how they power electricity, most of their electricity needs. And it is amazingly flat. It never bounced back after the Chinese New Year. It actually continued to go down.
So that tells you that even though they're opening the factories, they're not producing.
They're only utilizing electricity at 60% of typical rates.
What's the manufacturing lag time like when we would probably see that?
I knew how long it took for a boat to sail the ocean blue. I actually don't have the answer to that question.
Hence the title of his book. You know nothing about sailing
Cargo
the
vessels.
ocean blue. Yes, thank you. That's his book number 2. You know nothing about picking stocks, and that's okay. 10 principles I use to grow my portfolio. The I being John Wright. We will be right back on the Mary Beth Conley Show.
We'll be right back with more of the Mary Beth Conley Show on KWAM, The Voice.
This is Clark Howard. I need to tell you something that's an if-then. So I've shared with you that more and more people are going delinquent on their vehicle loans, and they're having vehicles repossessed at a higher and higher rate. And it's because of something that's just true for so many of us. When we're buying something, we only worry about what's the payment going to cost per paycheck or what's it going to cost per month. But instead, you should think about what's the total cost of it. As an example, if you're out buying a vehicle and they tell you what the payment's going to be and you look like you're going to fall over, they'll say, but we can lower that payment to blah, blah, blah if we stretch your loan. You know what happens when you stretch a loan? The amount of interest you pay skyrockets. And so the net result to you is you're building bigger and bigger burdens for yourself going forward.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/search. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/search. That's ZipRecruiter.com/search. ZipRecruiter.com/search.
KWAM, the Voice of Memphis, celebrates Black History Month. This month, we highlight African American men and women in the Mid-South whose sacrifices and achievements continue to make a difference in our community, like musician, songwriter, record producer, and owner of Royal Studios, Lawrence Boo Mitchell. Mitchell was born into a Memphis music family and is the son of Memphis music trailblazer Willie Mitchell. Boo's musical background was fostered in the early 90s, playing and composing with his father and through musical ventures with Royal Studios. In 2004, he began producing and engineering engineering records with his father, and in 2016 he won the Record of the Year Grammy for Uptown Funk. It was the first time a record made in Memphis won a Grammy for Record of the Year. Mitchell is currently a board member of the Memphis chapter of the Recording Academy and operates Royal Studios, which hosts gold and platinum selling artists. KWAM's Black History Month tribute is brought to you by
Felicia Bryant, 901-500-6659, to make all of your real estate needs a dream come true.
The Mary Beth Conley Show on KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
It's time for Make Dinner Great Again on the Mary Beth Conley Show, brought to you by Kroger, official grocer of the Memphis in May International Festival. Your dinner will always be great when you bring it home from Kroger or have them do the shopping for you at Kroger.com. And welcome back to the Mary Beth Conley Show, making better communities. You can go to Kroger.com or you can go to AAALifesolutions.com, or today you can go to Stellar-Assets.com, and that's where you'll find John Wright. He is also one of the experts affiliated with AAA Life Solutions, where they work on making your desirement, which is Renee Kennedy's word for retirement, exactly what you want it to be. So, today is President's Day, John, Greg, so guess what the trivia is? And this is really cool. This is probably the most interesting trivia since Bubble Wrap Day. I'm kind of surprised that at least I didn't know this stuff. Now, John, whose book is You Know Nothing About Picking Stocks, might have a second book out that says I know everything about U.S. presidents. So
no, but I do have an excellent president's trivia question.
Oh,
if there's time.
Fire away.
You want me to do
this?
that?
Yes, that
Okay.
would be so good. I suck at trivia.
Two
so.
U.S. presidents died on the same exact day. Which president?
The same year, even?
Same year, same day of the year.
I certainly hope this has not been in the last 37 years since
No.
I've been doing the news, because if I didn't hear about this, which two presidents died on the same? Oh God, I'll say Truman and.
Wrong.
Okay, all right, Greg.
Not even close.
Was one of them William McKinley?
No. And the day they died was July 4th.
Oh my God, really?
Mm-hmm. One of them wrote the document.
Thomas Jefferson?
Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, I got half of it right. Okay,
With
Greg,
a little bit of
have
help.
Quite a bit, actually. That was a really good hint. Okay, Greg, you have to pick the second one.
John Quincy Adams.
Yeah, I think it was.
Really?
Well, wait, no,
Oh, wait,
it wasn't
now
John
you
Adams. It wasn't.
you
now,
don't know
it's
the
been a while.
answer?
It's been a while. No, actually, it wasn't John Adams. It was.
You mean it wasn't Thomas Jefferson?
No, who was Jefferson's nemesis?
All I can think of is Aaron Burr, but that's
Madison.
That's,
Yes. James Madison. So it
Oh.
was James Madison and Thomas Jefferson, rivals that tried to outlast each other. They both said, "I'm going to hold on till the 4th of July," and then they both died on that day.
Did they die of natural causes?
Yes,
they didn't
natural
die in a
causes.
duel
No,
or anything
natural causes.
exciting. I
Natural
can't believe
causes.
I've never heard that.
On the 4th of July, it's the most amazing trivia question, regardless of
Oh yeah,
presidential topic.
I'm telling you, you're pretty good at a party. So not only does he do really well in the stock market and can lead you there,
but I walk up to people and I say, you know nothing, and that really it's a buzzkill.
That is kind of yeah. You're not much fun on a first date, are you? Who was the only unanimously elected president?
George Washington.
Well, smarty pants. I thought that was kind of a trick question, but I guess that does kind of make sense. Okay, fine. Who was the only president who this is a two-part question, okay?
Oh, okay.
The first part is, what is the speleologist, Greg? Speleologist. Might
like a
be
Harry Potter thing.
speleologist.
I've got no idea.
Spiel means to play games, so I would say a game player. Or someone who studies games, maybe? Speleologist.
A cave explorer.
Oh, a spelunker.
I thought that was a spelunker. Well, yeah, spelunker must be the layman's term for speleologist.
Yeah.
So the only president who was a speleologist, John?
I do not know.
Here's a hint. He's been mentioned earlier today.
Oh, McKinley.
McKinley. Good guess. Incorrect. A little bit earlier.
I don't know.
Greg?
Andrew Johnson.
Incorrect. Thomas Jefferson.
Oh,
I
okay.
had no idea.
Okay.
Who was the smallest of all presidents at only 5'4" and weighing less than 100 pounds? That was
Madison?
Well, damn. How'd you know that?
I knew he was small.
And you got it right. And last but not least, when was the White House painted white? Who was president at that time?
James Madison.
Ah, you got half of his name correct.
James Buchanan.
Nope.
Polk.
James Monroe. How many James were there? That would be a good trivia question.
Popular name.
A bunch of Jimmies up in the White House. Thank you so much. Enjoy your President's Day. You know nothing about picking stocks, and that's okay. There's the book. Get it on Amazon. John, thank you so much.
Thank you.
CBS News at the top of every hour. Serving Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. The latest news stories are